Now, with two cameras going here, and for you that are on YouTube, you're right here. I hope that you're here. And for you that are here on Facebook Live, I'm thrilled that each and every one of you are here. Tonight, we're going to begin a series where we talk about how to listen your way to fulfillment, how to do that. What are the ways to do that? As we get ready to do that, I want to read you some statistics and tell you a story that happened to me 18 years ago. 18 years ago tonight and tomorrow morning. 3,263 people went to sleep tonight anticipating rising tomorrow and doing what they did every single day. This is how it breaks down. 246 of those people went to sleep excited about the flight that they would catch tomorrow morning and head somewhere. An additional 2,606 people went to sleep in preparation for work on that Wednesday. 343 firefighters went to sleep in preparation for their day shift tomorrow. An additional 60 police officers went to sleep, anticipating what the next day would bring. And 8 paramedics went to sleep in preparation to do what they always did, what their life was about. And by 10 a.m. on that day, their lives would be gone. And their families would not know about them. I remember that morning. Getting up, and my 4 children were getting ready for school. I was in the midst of getting ready for a day in the office and some appointments that day. And all of a sudden, the news was interrupted, and we watched one of the towers as it was smoking. And then on live television, we watched an airplane crash into the other tower. And it wasn't within just moments that we learned that the truth is we were under attack. I will never forget that. The most sobering one of all was then my little girl, who would be 12 on the 12th. September the 12th, she would be 12. She walked up to me, and at that point, even though she was 11, she was really just a little girl. And I remember having a discussion with Rita about whether or not we're going to keep them home or we're going to allow them to go to school. And I said, oh no, they're going to school. And Tiffany, even though she was 11, she was such a little girl at that point. She was such a young girl. Walked up to me and slipped her hand into my hand and asked me, why did they have to do this? Why did these people have to do this? And I don't know. I didn't have the answer then. I don't have the answer now. What I do know now better than I did then is our intelligence community just didn't listen. They just didn't listen, and they were incapable of responding really fast to what they sort of knew was going on. I suspect in our lives of business, our lives of relationships, our lives of where we volunteer, sometimes we don't listen either, do we? Oh, we think we're good listeners. The other day I was told that a person couldn't hear me because I mumble all the time. And I was saddened to hear that statement because I don't know anybody that's ever told me that. Sometimes I think we just have a hard time listening. I think we just have a hard time listening. I think there's a lot of distractions. If you remember, well, some of you are so young, you don't remember. I remember. The internet was just coming on board. There were chat rooms. There were distractions, but they were not as available as they are now. They were not available as they are now. Today, literally in the palm of our hand, we have the world at our access. And every time we turn around, we can have our phones in our hands and we can be distracted. And while we're distracted, who we're distracted from are the most important people in our lives. That's our children and our grandchildren. I really think that there are times that what we need to do is we need to have this space of time where we set down our phones, we set down our computers, we set down our iPads, we set down all those things, and we pay attention to those young lives that are in front of us. When Tiffany Dawn slipped her hand into my hand and she said, "Daddy, why did they do that?" And I remember thinking the same thing that my dad said the morning that John F. Kennedy had been shot. My dad said to me, it was the very first time that I'd ever seen my dad cry. I'd never seen him cry before, but that morning that John F. Kennedy had been shot, he cried. I asked him, "Dad, what's going on?" And he said to me, he said, "Son, the entire world has just changed." And with Tiffany's hand in my right hand, that's what I thought. The whole world has just changed. And she asked me what we were going to do. And I told her that we're going to go on. We're not going to let these people take our lives away from us. We're going to go on and we're going to be okay. We're 18 years later. We're 18 years later and we've gone on. Those people did not take our lives. And I think in some ways we have become better listeners, yet I don't think we're really great at it. I don't think we're really great at it. And so tonight and for the next 4 or 5 weeks, we're going to talk about how to turn up our ability to listen, how to turn up our ability to listen so that we can listen our way to fulfillment. Now, I think I need to explain some things, though, because here's what's happening. Tom and Dave and Crystal, our culture is so addicted to the idea of success. And our culture really believes that success equals prosperity. And we're in such a dynamic time of everybody looking for more money, more prosperity. And even today, maybe it was yesterday, was signed into law that we cannot ask students to leave and take a couple days off from school if they're disruptive, if they get in fights, if they do that. We can't even do that anymore. It's a sad day when you think about it. It really is. And yet I know that if we could just increase our ability to listen and understand what life is all about. I want you to know, I do not think life is all about prosperity and success. And I know that a lot of people that believe in God talk about God wants you to be happy. God wants you to have more. God wants you to have more money. I want to go on record to say that I don't think that's God's ultimate aim, to make you happy. I don't think it's God's ultimate aim to give you more money. I just don't. I think God's ultimate aim is to bring you to a place where you have a sense of fulfillment, where you feel and sense fulfilled and that you belong in this skin and that life is good. Now, here's what I know. When you are fulfilled and you have that fulfillment and that sense that you're supposed to be in this skin, you're supposed to be in this time period, You're supposed to be in this neighborhood, in this family, at this job. Something happens when we get to that spot. Fulfillment brings about prosperity and success. And that does not mean more money. Because listen, there's a lot of people in the world that make as much in a month that you rake in a day. And they are fulfilled. And because of their fulfillment, they're happy and they have prosperity and they feel successful. I think the way to that is to learn how to really listen our way to fulfillment. If you are a boss tonight, if you're a supervisor tonight, what I'd like you to do, if you're on Facebook, give me a thumbs up. If you oversee, if you influence a body of people, if you're a parent, if you're a grandparent, if you are a supervisor, if you're a manager, if you're an owner, if you're that kind of a person, you influence people, and those people need you to be fulfilled in what you do. They need that. And so how do we do that? See, when I'm fulfilled, it's easy for me to do what I'm supposed to do, okay? And so I'd like to talk about that a little bit. How do we what is fulfillment? What is fulfillment? Fulfillment is exactly what I just said a minute ago. It is being happy in this skin, being happy in the skin of this moment, being happy, being fulfilled, being content, not only in the skin of this moment, in the skin of this body, in the skin of this neighborhood, in the skin of this county, this city, this state, this place that we call America. When we are fulfilled, then all those other things that you think you're supposed to happen, you're supposed to have, I think they tailgate. I think they're on the hitch of the soul of our life. Just like I would haul a trailer and hook it to the hitch of my truck. I think prosperity and success are hooked in a trailer of fulfillment. My vehicle, your vehicle is fulfillment. And to do that, we've got to learn how to listen. We've got to learn how to really, truly listen. All right? So how do we do that? Over the next several weeks, we will talk about 6 different things that come in to listening. 6 different things, 6 different qualities that help us to become great listeners. And when we're great listeners, we'll be able to respond to those grandchildren. We'll be able to respond to those kids. We'll be able to respond to those customers that come in our line at the school restaurant. We'll be able to respond to our staff because we'll be responding to what their soul is screaming for, what their soul is yearning for. So what's the first thing? Tonight, I'd like to discuss the first element of learning how to listen our way to fulfillment. The first element is going to take some time. It's going to take some effort. Some of you, I want you to know, I'm Matt, I'm your friend, and in just a moment, you're not going to like me, okay? In just a moment, you're not going to like me. Because the very first thing to learning how to listen is we have to log out of all the other conversations that we've got going on so we can log in to this moment, okay? So now what am I talking about? Let me give you 3 aspects of logging out before I log in. The first one is I have to log out of all the chatter that's going on the inside of me that come out as insecurities, that come out as shortcomings, that come out as I'm a failure, that I'm not pretty enough, I'm not handsome enough, I don't have enough hair, I've got a double chin, all those things that you're thinking about while you're having a conversation or attempting to listen to somebody distract us. They distract us. All those things, you know? And so I've got to log out of all those conversations. For me personally, Mary, I have 3 voices that wrestle with me and talk with me and want the stage of my soul all the time. The first one, and sometimes the loudest, is this. It's my former self. my former self. And it's not the former self that made things happen. It's not the former self that did things right. It's not the former self that was semi-successful. It's the former self that failed, that dropped the ball, that was not successful, that bumped along and goofed up, did not keep his word, and did not make it happen. That former self speaks to me a lot. That former self also makes fun of me. That former self says to me, you don't have the hair you used to have. You've got funny red cheeks. You're chubby. You're this, you're that. And when I listen to that, I can't listen to those lives that I'm supposed to influence. So I have to shut that down. I have to turn that off. I have to log out of that conversation. And then also, I have another conversation going on that I've learned to call my future self. My future self. And my future self is always encouraging me to go for it. Always encouraging me to go for it. You could do it. Actually, it speaks to me as though it's already done. I remember when I was starting to write this book. When I set out to write this book, I'm telling you, I had my former self screaming at me. Yet, that calm, still voice of my future self said I could do it. Yet, listen to me. Lean in and listen to me. When I went to typing, sometimes that voice overpowered, and then I had to listen to that. I still had to shut them down. I still had to shut them down. Now, here's what happens. When I'm listening to these two voices, I'm double-minded. I have a dual conversation going on. I'm double-minded. And what happens is I'm unstable. I'm unstable. I know none of you have this going on, do you? None of you have this weak self telling you not to, and another voice telling you to go for it. And then I have another voice that is so threatening to me. It's that voice of insecurity. It's that voice of insecurity. That voice that says you're not going to do well. Oh, they don't like you. Oh, they don't want you. You say, Matt, you shouldn't think like that. Yeah, that's like that. What is the pot calling the kettle black? Is that what it is? Because I think you do that too, don't you? And you. And oh, don't turn away. Don't look away. Put your hand on your chest and say, oh, yes. Because there's a part of you that's insecure, isn't it? See, I have to shut all those down. I have to turn them off. I have to stop those conversations. If I'm going to dial in to learn how to listen my way to fulfillment, I've got to log out of all those conversations. Now, let me show you a couple of other ones. Now, you probably have greater courage. You probably have greater strength than I do. When I'm holding my phone in my hand, or I've got it in my pocket, or that special sheath that some of you carry it in, and it vibrates, even when I have it on silent, when it vibrates, I'm telling you, I do not have the strength. I do not have the ability to not want to look at the screen. Oh, gracious. It is the most biggest struggle imaginable. When it's sitting right next to me and I'm with somebody that I care about, I'm with somebody that I love, and I hear it go, and it moves around. Every fiber in me wants to know what's going on that phone. I know. You don't have that problem, do you? Not at all. See, that's why you don't carry your phone with you all the time. That's why it's not with you every minute of the waking day. That's why it's not right next to your bedside, right? That's why, even though you're not supposed to have it at work, you have it on you, right? Because you're not addicted to your phone. Now, let me just show you something. The same way that I just said that when these two voices are going on, and then my insecure voice is happening, and I'm double-minded, I can't really hear what's going on. The same thing happens when my phone goes off. Oh, I'm telling you, you are very important to me. You're very important to me. Yet when it goes off, Oh my goodness. I want to know what's going on the phone. How about you? How many of you could say, oh yeah, that's a little bit of me too? And let me just talk to the moms, the dads, the aunts, the uncles, and the grandparents. Okay? Everybody else ignore me for just a second. One of the greatest things that ever happened to me almost 5 years ago. It's about 4 years and 9 months ago. A dear friend of mine, gosh, just a sweetheart friend of mine, said to me after looking at some pictures of me holding RJ, she noticed something in my ear. And she asked me, she had the audacity and the boldness and the heart to ask me if that thing in my ear was attached. I said, well, what are you talking about? She said, that black thing that's in your ear. Every time I see a picture on Facebook of you and RJ, you've got that Bluetooth in your ear. And I said, no. I started trying to make excuses, and the whole time I'm going from being a grape to a raisin. I'm shriveling up right in front of her conversation. And she was so right. She was so right. Because when I got to looking back in my mind, and I got to looking back at some of the photos, she was right. Every time I had that thing in my ear. And why was it there? It wasn't there to listen to music. I'm not a security person. I'm not the FBI or the CIA. I don't need all that. I'm not protecting somebody. In fact, with that in my ear, I'm distracted from the most important thing, and that was him. And after she said that to me, I took it out. I still have that in a little box in my truck. I don't know that it's been back in my ear since. In fact, right after that, what I did is I went and changed the radio in my truck. That was an older truck. I changed the radio so I could have a Bluetooth in there, so I didn't have that anymore. I didn't have that. Now I have the earbuds for the iPhone, and the only time I use it is when I'm doing this right here. I don't use it for anything else. They don't stay in my ear, because she was so right. And here's what I know. I mean, I go to restaurants. I see it all the time. People are carrying these things in their ears. When that thing goes off, beep, 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 it just lets you know that a text came in, or it lets you know that a Facebook message came up, or something like that. Try to tell me you don't want to know what's going on. Try to tell me that you're not paying attention to that. If you're not, then why do you have them in there? She was so right. Such a dear and amazing friend, a loved friend of mine. She is, that single statement has given me more present time with my grandchildren than probably any other statement that's ever been said to me. So I'm saying to you that not only do we need to shut the past voice off, the future voice off, that insecure voice, not only do we need to do that, we need to learn how to lay our phones down. We need to take a time off every single night that we're with our kids and our grandkids, where we don't have a phone in our hands. Now, you say, oh, I'm under contract to have it on me all the time. I understand that. There's a few of us here that's under contract, but the lion's share of us are not under contract to have that phone on us all the time. Right? Come on. Okay. And thank you, Carol Ann. Thank you. You don't need that phone all the time. You could set it over there. And I know that some of you don't know this, but your phone actually has an off button. Yes, it has an off button. Now, let you let on a little secret. On my iPhone, my newest iPhone, my iPhone Max, I couldn't figure out where it was at. And then it took somebody younger than me to show me how to turn it off. So I'm suggesting to you, learn how to turn your phone off. Learn how to set it down. What would happen if just for the next 5 days, at the evening hours, from let's say 5:30 to 8:30 at night, you took your phone and put it in another room. You just put it away. You didn't pick up your phone. You didn't go look at it. I'm going to guess that what would happen is you'd find out that life was better. So you got to log out of those conversations. Now, if you're in an office I'm just going to tell you, not only must you log out of that past voice that tells you about all your failures and your shortcomings, that future voice that says, come on, get this done, and that insecure voice that reminds you that you're not like everybody else. Okay? Set your phone down. You got to walk away from your computer as well. If people come into your office, if you sit in an office, if you work out of an office and you work in front of one of these keyboards, I'm suggesting to you that you probably are like me. You probably do not have the strength to have a conversation with somebody and see something go on the screen and still pay attention to what's going on. Listen, I think the same thing about TV. Okay? When I'm having a conversation with somebody, I practice. We would miss your live. So except on Tuesday nights, Candy. Except on Tuesday nights, we'll do it a different time. How's that? On Tuesday nights, we could start it at 7:15 and go till 10:15. How's that? We could just do that. Candy, you made me laugh. Oh my goodness. Listen, we've got to log out of those conversations before we can truly log in. Because here's the truth. Here's the truth. The human person is incapable of listening to two conversations 100% and get what's both. Because here's what happens to me. Here's what happens to Matt. When I'm attempting to listen to two conversations or more, I get what's called, what I've coined, what I've created as a word, dyslexic hearing. And I hear parts of the conversation. And because I have this ego problem, what happens sometimes, I'm sad to say that I lie to you. I lie to you. You asked me if I heard you. And sometimes I lie. I say, oh, yeah, I heard you. And then I attempt to make it up so I can still be there. And what I ought to say is, I'm so sorry. I was distracted once again. Here, and I lay my phone face down. Say, would you give me another chance? And when I do that, I've got to be courageous. I really want to have another chance. So listen, what have we said here tonight? Our first of 5 sessions on learning how to listen our way to fulfillment. The first thing that we said is we've got to log out of the conversations that's going on in our heads, from our past, from our future, and from that present insecure person. I don't even know why it happens. I'll get in front of some people and all of a sudden I'm insecure. I don't know why. I just know that it's there. And that insecurity has a large, loud voice. Now, I know some of you never get insecure. I do. I get insecure. You have to turn all those 3 voices off. You have to learn how to lay your phone down. Okay? You have to learn how to lay it down. I would suggest laying it down face down. If you work off of a laptop like I've got going for YouTube right now, then you've got to learn how to shut the screen so that when you have a conversation with somebody, okay, you got to learn how to do that. And then learn how to log out of trying to figure out what everybody's trying to say. Just lean in and listen. Now, for me, some of you will be in Ontario in November. By the way, I get to teach 4 classes, 2 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday. The 2 on Saturday are in the afternoon after the food show, and the 2 on Sunday are in the morning, okay, before lunch. I hope I'll see you there. I hope I'll see you there. I hope that you get there early. You sit up front and you say, hey, Matt, I'm glad I'm here. I hope you do that. And you come in and listen to some music. We're going to have a good time. All right. Now, if you see me there, you'll notice something that I do. When I'm having a conversation with you, I will turn the conversation around to where my back is to all the movement, as much as the movement that's going on. The reason The reason that is, okay, is because my eyes see everybody else and I want to talk to them and I want to acknowledge them because I have to log out of that conversation. Michelle, thank you. I'm going to probably pick that up from you tomorrow night. I have a meeting in North Sacramento tomorrow afternoon. And if it's all right, I'd like to pick that up tomorrow afternoon. All right. I'm telling you guys, I don't know if Michelle wants me to tell you this, but her and her husband created the best dry rub for using on the grill, for chicken, for fish, for steak, for ribs, for everything. And I don't know if it was okay to say that, but good night, it's good. And so tomorrow night, I'm picking it up. Listen, the first segment is we, Carol Ann, I don't know if I can do some ribs this weekend. Okay. Got to log out. We got to log out of all the other conversations before we log in if we want to listen our way to fulfillment. And remember what I said. I think chasing prosperity, chasing happiness, chasing success is a never-ending chase. The more you chase it, the more it runs away from you. Yet, if you seek fulfillment, being happy in this skin, being happy in this moment, being fulfilled in this moment, being right here, right now, and satisfied with what's going around you and pushing forward, I think that's when all of a sudden, somewhere down the road, you'll notice that you're successful. You'll notice that you're happy. You notice that you have some prosperity. So figure out how to be fulfilled. Listen, I'm Matt, and I'm your friend. And gosh, I cannot wait to see you. I cannot wait to walk up to you and put my hand on your cheek and give you an Oral Hendricks hug. And with my hand on your cheek right here, my other cheek right here, and whisper into your ear how much I believe in you. Okay? You can reach me at 916-708-8103. You can call or text there anytime you want. Or you can email me at leap@mattupton.net. Listen, next week, before we get out of here, I got to tell you something. Next week is my mom's 80th birthday, and we're going to be giving her a birthday celebration that night. And so we're going to move this broadcast to Wednesday night, all right? Instead of it being on Tuesday night, our regularly scheduled Tuesday night broadcast will be on Wednesday night so that we can be here because I need to log out. If I try to do it that night, I know it's at 6:30. Her surprise party's at 7. Yet if I try to do it in a hurry, I won't be totally present with you. All right. So we're going to just move it one night. I'll put a notice on Facebook and here on YouTube. Listen, in the meantime, if there's anything I can do for you, if I can come and do some professional development, if you need some transformational coaching, if you're stuck someplace and you feel like you need to leap to another zone, reach out to me. I can help you figure out how to do that. 916-708-8103 or leap@mattupton.net. I'll see you soon. Okay. See you later.